This is Halloween, this is Halloween, pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Halloween, everybody make a scene, trick cards. Come on guys, it's so awkward. I'm the only one singing here.
The only thing I know is this is Halloween, this is Halloween.
Oh,
True.
you told me to sing this.
It was just a suggestion, man.
But
I didn't think it...
what else would you want me to sing? Spoopy, spoopy, skeleton, shivering down my spine.
I don't
Did
know
you want that?
I just wanted the Halloween song.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
So, hi, good day everyone, and once again, welcome to AME After Hours, UP AME's official podcast where we talk about anything and everything about anime, manga, or the community. Once again, this is Angelica,
I'm Ian.
Eric.
and we have a very special guest today.
We have
Yes.
some very special guests
We have
today.
some very special
More
guests
than
today. So, if you guys don't know, UP AME is an official organization of UP Diliman. As such, we accept a lot of new applicants to become members of UP AME, the premier anime and manga organization in UP Diliman. That's right, I know the exact title. Because bragging rights. We are
Bragging
premier.
rights. We are premier.
We are premier. So, hi, welcome. I'd like to introduce some of our applicants, our batch 19 applicants who are joining us in the podcast today. So, can you guys just tell us your name?
Hello, I'm Howie.
Hi.
Hi, Howie.
Hi, Harry. Are we doing the thing?
Hello, I'm James.
Hi, James.
Hey everyone, my name's Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hello, my name's Macy.
Hi, Macy. Wait.
Sorry, your name is...
Hello, Macy.
Hi, Macy.
Oh.
We're not rude.
You're rude.
We're just very forgetful. I'm sorry. So,
She just said her name. Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
so yun, our applicants will be joining us for today so they could get a feel on
Some
how
of them.
our podcast works and hopefully encourage their batchmates to come to the attend the next podcast.
Yes, please talk with us.
Yes, please talk with us. We're lonely introverts. Okay, so
It's not a very good way to entice people to come to the podcast, you know.
how would you entice people to the podcast?
Hey.
Hey.
No,
Maybe that's
weird.
better.
It's weird.
No, the podcast is the place where introverts can be introverts together. Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of anime people are introverts.
Surprisingly
but
so, but-
Surprisingly. But like when it comes to talking anime and manga, we get really excited. So I guess that's what the podcast encourages, really. A place where you can weave out with fellow introverts.
Ah, yeah.
And practice being an extrovert just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
In a controlled environment.
Although you're gonna be talking to a potentially bigger crowd there in the internet.
Don't say
Don't
that.
scare us.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. In this place,
This is a safe space.
this is the safe space for us to discuss our feelings about anime and manga. Speaking of discussions, as you guys heard earlier, Eric was singing "This is Halloween" upon my suggestion. Because
Yes, it was by her
welcome
suggestion.
to the Halloween podcast. Enter spooky effects right here.
Gone by the door.
Ganda and Bizarre.
Ganda.
So, hi. October started this week. We are in the third month of the academic year. And it's scary, not just because it's Halloween, but it's almost midterms.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that's a
midterms.
scarier thing to think about than Halloween. Are you guys doing great so far?
Well, at least I only have one class, so.
I'm in residency. I don't know how this works.
Alright, I'm supposed to be the busiest members in these two.
They're there.
Hey, you give us more work to compensate.
Yeah, I do. It's been great. So, yeah, okay. So, let's talk about, well, so far, how does Halloween, do you guys celebrate Halloween? If you guys do in your own homes or not?
Not for a long time.
We used to
You used to, really? What do you guys usually do?
decorate the house.
Really?
Decorate the house. to be
But now
spooky.
we just decorate the house early for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well.
Alright, because like Filipino culture, the Christmas decorations mixed with the Halloween
Yeah. I mean,
decorations.
if no one stopped us, this could have been the Christmas podcast right now. Yeah. Very easy.
Let's not
Even though
think
it's
about
October.
Yeah, let's not think about Christmas or December, because unlike October, December is finals week.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh
Oh no.
December is
scary, scary.
Oh yeah, I should have this feeling too, but I don't have any classes.
I get it. You both have 1 or 0 classes. I get it. Coming from the 5 class person complete with thesis.
Yeah, at least I have a project.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I'm sorry.
stares at Eric.
I'm sorry. But I'm actually delayed, so it's not actually that good.
Has Halloween ever been scary for you guys?
Not really.
Or like, does October give that scary vibe that it's supposed to give, or not really?
Oh, before, when
Maybe
I
that
was
I-
still a kid.
Yeah, I guess when we were kids, we really like to make a big deal out of Halloween,
No.
even though we're in.
I mean, particularly, I was a very easy to scare child.
I
Like,
can
I
see
had
that.
already admitted in myself that I was a scaredy cat. No
Oh,
amount
that-
of teasing would make me any more
At least you're
courageous or
At least
fake
you're
courageous at
aware.
all.
You just have to overcome your fears. Even though it's not.
Go,
Yeah.
Eric.
The fears have evolved now.
They're your fears.
Fear evolves.
They are now adult fears.
Adult
Oh, no.
fears. Oh no. But like, I guess when we were kids, maybe we were really curious about Halloween, especially since the Philippines doesn't really celebrate.
Yeah, we don't
Halloween.
really celebrate.
But
just
like,
that
if
day.
you watch TV and cartoons, American culture, Western culture makes a big deal about Halloween because surprise costumes and candy,
It's trick or
Yeah.
treat.
trick or treat.
Even adults do the costumes, and sometimes it's risque costumes.
Yeah, it's not a curse word, alright? I just put
Risque.
together the slutty versions of costumes is the common theme. Did you guys know Halloween is a really big deal in Japan? Like,
Actually,
I
I
looked at.
didn't.
Oh, right, yeah. There was that one time I know that everyone in costume just went inside the trains and started having a Halloween party inside of it.
In Japan?
Yes, in Japan.
Japan's
Really?
crazy.
They even
about
like
Halloween.
televised it.
Weird.
They had it in the news, and there was like people.
Oh, Japan.
having-
Well, but normally it's not even polite to talk on the train.
Yeah.
Oh, Japan.
And it's like the crowds of
Like
costume
Halloween
people going inside
becomes
the
a way for
trains.
them to let loose. And I actually
Yeah.
looked it up. Apparently, Halloween's almost a week-long celebration in Japan.
It's like Golden Week.
Yeah, it's like Golden Week, but with
But they have
costumes and
classes.
candy and booze.
But they have
Probably
classes.
less actual holidays.
Yeah. Like, did you know they had to ban alcohol in Shibuya for Halloween? Because apparently last year's Halloween, it was too crazy. People got too drunk and there was a lot of antics. So now they're banning alcohol during Halloween. Japan. Wow, Japan.
Oh, Japan.
We think they're the respectful, the nice, conservative people, but on Halloween, oh my god.
It's always the quiet one.
It's always the quiet ones. It's always the quiet culture that suddenly lets loose. Well, I guess they need to let loose once in a
Yeah,
while.
you have to let loose. I mean, the culture is actually a bit more
It's
straight
rigid.
and narrow and yeah, rigid
Yeah.
than
Rigid,
us.
yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's the reason why our cultures are so different, even though we're both Asian.
There's other factors
Yeah.
to
But
that.
I don't feel the rigidness in terms of rules and stuff when you're in here.
Depends.
It depends. And also, speaking of Halloween in Japan, I found out like Halloween is a really, really good holiday for cosplayers in Japan because the thing that they do year long is suddenly becomes socially acceptable for 1 week. So like, I think it was in Ikebukoro's Halloween parade. Yeah, they have Halloween parades in Japan. Ikebukoro's Halloween parade is usually cosplay themed. There's cosplay competitions and there's photographers that you can rent for the event. And there's also cosplay costumes for rent
Oh,
that's
that's cool.
donated by the cosplayers and the props too. Some cosplayers donate their stuff for other people to cosplay in Halloween. So
That sounds so generous.
it sounds so generous, and it's nice to see how Halloween and how the Weibo community can intersect because it's Halloween costumes and it's also costume play. So that intersection is really fascinating to see. But like speaking of intersection of cultures, that segue nice. Do you guys what?
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 No, I just didn't understand what intersection of cultures.
Oh right, because like the cosplay culture and the mask culture that is Halloween it can intersect for
Okay.
like
So that's what you mean.
in Halloween. I'm sorry, it was a
Yeah,
I'm
because
sorry, it was
for
a
most of the
mascom.
for most of the year.
It was a mascom term. I keep using
Oh,
it.
I
I'm
see.
sorry.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on.
So yun, speaking of, I guess when we were kids, a lot of what we know about Halloween came from Western cartoons.
Mhm.
But like, I guess anime is kind of catching up to that. Like if you guys have seen your fandom, sometimes they have special Halloween art to celebrate Halloween within their fandoms. Like what's
Games have that as well. Anime games.
yeah. Do MOBA guys get Halloween events?
Yes, they do.
They get special Halloween.
They even get reruns of past Halloween events
Really?
before the new Halloween event usually. Yeah.
Wow, Halloween is capitalist. I mean, yeah. Actually, yeah,
Every
holidays are capitalist.
Yeah.
Everything's capitalist
Yeah.
nowadays.
Capitalism has taken Valentine's, Christmas, Halloween,
Mother's
heaven knows-
Day, Father's Day, birthdays.
Yeah, heaven knows they can just take Rizal Day any day.
Rizal Day.
Yeah, Rizal Day.
Or no.
Or
Rizal
sometimes
Day.
even National Boyfriend Day. Did you know someone like
Well, someone started that randomly and then people just went with it.
Yeah.
So,
That's life.
but yeah, speaking of Halloween things, is there like a particular Halloween adaptation in your fandoms that you particularly like?
A Halloween adaptation, like a Halloween version.
Like
of,
Halloween themes in your fandoms. Is there anything in particular that you can share with us?
There is only one.
Yeah?
I only have one fandom I can think of that has a good way to celebrate Halloween. And it's not even because it's on Halloween Day, it's just in the game. It's Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
And Sora and Donald and Goofy all have their Halloween sprites and it's really good. It's like, oh damn.
So like I guess Halloween events usually it's for the aesthetic value
Yeah.
because like they put the characters and they put them in Halloween costumes. Oh, I remember the Boku no Hero Halloween one. I think they dressed up Kirishima as Red Riding Hood and Bakugo's like the big bad wolf.
Yeah, the big bad one.
Oh my god.
Alright, that was a special insert in the manga, I think.
Yeah, it's a special insert.
That was
Oh.
a sheep, right?
I think Deku was a ghost. Todoroki
Was
was
he
a
a ghost?
vampire.
I think
Deku was a
the
sheep.
Deku as a sheep is everyone as animals.
Oh, okay.
That's different, that's different.
Okay, okay.
But like, oh my god, Boku no Hero once again catering to the Kiribako shippers. Red Riding Hood
Always.
and
And
Big
the
Bad Wolf.
There was each Red Riding Hood.
Is that considered furry?
Hmm.
Because
Well,
Bakugo's a
Hmm.
wolf. And it's a ship.
Nah. It's just a costume.
It always starts that way.
It always starts that way. Wait till you see the pics and the fan art. How about you, Ian? Any Halloween adaptations you like?
I'm not sure if there's any in particular. Like usually, yeah, it's limited to the manga volumes released maybe around October that have Halloween inserts. So usually there's Halloween themed art of the main cast or something.
I guess that's as far as you don't really see like anime characters celebrating Halloween. And even if you do see them, it's actually one episode. So like maybe Halloween is just a special filler or a special theme that happens once in a blue moon just to make the characters have fun. But even though there's anime that only celebrates horror for like that embraces horror for one episode just to freak out the audiences, there are some that embraces horror and the supernatural as an entire genre on its own. So
Eric already shaking.
Eric shakes his head.
Yeah.
You can already tell.
And I'm also groaning because, horror. I just said at the start of this series that not horror, not gore,
I do remember.
not stuff.
But like, we gotta do it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
need our own Halloween episode, Eric, because we are anime and manga.
It doesn't have to be horror. I mean, I could bargain here and say that it could be like just supernatural stuff or just,
Too
fairy
late,
tales,
too late, we're
fantasy.
already here.
Oh no.
But it's horror and supernatural.
Yeah, so like, you're safe a bit.
I'm half panicking then.
Oh no.
Panic's half.
Panic's halfway. Panic all the way.
You want me to panic all the way?
No, it's just a joke. I'm so
Not right
sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
So speaking of horror and supernatural anime, can you guys describe to me your very first encounter with a horror or a supernatural anime? Because I'm pretty sure our introductions to anime is usually the shonen series like Naruto and Dragon Ball and the magical shoujo ones like Sailor Moon. But what about your first encounter with horror or supernatural anime? What's that like for you?
The first supernatural or horror anime I actually watched, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what it was because really what stands out, I remember as to the first horror anime I actually watched end to end would be another.
Yeah,
Which
it's
you
another
would
for me too.
Yeah, another is actually, I think, an entry way for a lot of people.
Entry-level horror.
Entry-level horror anime. Because it's quite popular and it actually resembles some Western movies.
Yeah.
Like Final Destination movies. It's basically Final Destination the anime.
I've never think. I
Damn.
didn't think about it that way. Are you okay?
No, not really. I'm a problem with horror. But, okay, I guess.
Stay
They're
strong.
there.
Generally,
They're there.
um,
Straight, straight.
Relatively, I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess-
was just thinking about something else.
Yeah. Another is my first encounter with horror too. I
Mhm.
watched it when I was in high school, fourth year high school, at the
Oh, wow.
recommendation of my other anime friends, and like, well, at that point in time, most of the anime I watch is really sports anime and all that feel good slice of life
Mhm.
anime, and then suddenly my
Suddenly.
friend starts watching another in our classroom, and she knows I like anime, so she drags me in, and she's already in the middle of the season, and like I watch this. Okay, it's about high school kids. What's so surprising? Oh, that's a lot of blood. Oh my god.
So that happened.
Because like, well, I mean, I've seen how anime characters died in shonen, and it's usually just they don't really show it on screen. It's usually the heroic sacrifice kind of deal, and then
it's not very gory or bloody.
and then wow, gore. Like
No.
I know, like Moe, I'm not very into horror. I'm just really talking about it for the sake of October and Halloween. And like, I think I stopped watching it. Like, I stopped at episode 5 because I really couldn't stomach all that anime blood.
You never got to the end.
I know the ending, but I never got to the end.
Yeah, the ending is crazy.
Yeah.
If we're talking about gore, I did watch Danganronpa, the first season, to the fullest.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not horror.
I mean,
but
it's,
more like-
it's censored though.
it's just, yeah.
I mean, the blood is pink.
It's
Not even
really-
red.
I mean, you could just negative color it and it's all red. And, yeah, but if we're gonna talk about my first horror experience, I think what I can remember as a comic from when I was a kid, it came from Naver. I didn't know how I was able to access. Maybe a friend of mine shared it as a link. It was about this woman that committed suicide, and then for some reason, a girl met a woman in white while she was walking home,
Oh,
asking her if
that
she
comment.
needs pity, and then
Oh no, it's
And
that
then-
legend.
yeah,
It
suddenly it
scrolls.
scrolls. It automatically scrolls. You're not even done scrolling. It just automatically scrolls very fast, and then you see just the woman's face getting very near and very.
Oh,
very
it's
near.
that
like,
one
boom.
Japanese. It's that one comment.
Yeah,
It's
it was in
It's not
that,
Japanese,
like-
diba? It's Korean.
It was Korean.
It's Korean.
But still, it was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's-
literally jumped from my chair.
I think there's another comic that's by the same author, but
Is
it's
it
about
also
it's
horror?
a set at it's at a train station where
Oh,
a
no.
student naman was
Uh-huh.
seeing like a woman like staggering around the station. So he was thinking like maybe she's just drunk, like what's happening? And then like minutes later after she's staggering there, she suddenly disappears. But then he can hear something on the tracks. So he goes to look, and then the screen, it's a GIF, I think. It's a GIF. The screen just suddenly, there's a hand that juts out of the screen to your face. So like, oh no.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god!
I think I'm
Why did we
I think
start? Why did they even consider this as a topic? I'm scared.
regrets.
Do it.
Regrets ba?
Then there's three of us.
Okay.
If anything ever comes in, I think we have a way to deal with it. Probably.
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 But yeah, but that was mostly a jump scare because after after I fell out of my chair, I realized, oh, it's just a gift. Okay, it's a gift.
It's just a gift. It's not gonna come out with the screen.
Closest tab.
But well, since we're talking about horror naman in anime and in Japan in particular, we really have to talk about Junji Ito. Yeah,
Yes.
Junji.
My very first horror manga.
Really? What's
Yeah.
your first Junji Ito manga that you read?
Let's see. It was the one in the mountain.
In the mountain.
Yeah, the people that go inside holes.
Amigahara Fault?
Yeah.
Something? Basta the enigma of Amigahara Fault, I think.
I think that's
I think.
the one.
I'm not sure about the
How did it make you
syllables.
feel? If it's alright to ask.
It made me feel small.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like just gave me an existentialist crisis.
And Junji Ito's works tend to be not outright scary all the time.
But like
sometimes they're
it
just
really shakes something inside of you.
Yeah, sometimes they're just really disturbing, fundamentally
Yeah.
disturbing.
I mean, it's some of it, admittedly, is not scary.
Mhm.
Well, I can't even say it because I feel like I might offend Junji Ito. But like, it's something about his stories really shakes you to your core and makes you think deeply about it. And like, the first work I've read of Junji Ito was Tommy.
Tommy,
Yeah, Tommy.
what was it about?
I mean, it was this.
Tommy-san?
Huh?
Tommy-san? Was it Tommy?
I'm not sure. It's Tom. I don't know if it's pronounced Tommy or Tommy yet, but basically it's about this really beautiful girl named Tommy, and then a lot of guys are really attracted to her, and it's a fatal kind of attraction because Tommy is apparently a demon in disguise.
Oh, she's a succubus?
Not really a succubus, but like there's something about her now. Once you get too close, suddenly, bye.
Oh,
You're gone.
You're gone.
okay.
I'm like, she's an enigma actually. It's not really expounded if she's a demon or not. People just assume she is because like there's something about her that's her beauty is scary because if you get too close just because you're attracted to her, you'll suddenly she'll make you regret it. Parang, you really need to read the manga to
But
understand.
what if you get close to her not because of attraction, just because you end up bumping into her?
So literal physical closeness.
Not really physical closeness, more like that kind of closeness.
But you're allowed to get near her just as long as you don't notice her.
I can't really explain it because, like I said, Tommy is such an enigma.
Okay.
But like I remember reading it and wow, because there's something about Junji Ito's art style. Na 1 second it appears normal, and the next panel suddenly the gore and the body distortion
The body
happens.
horror,
The
yeah.
body horror happens.
He just has that way
He has that
Yes,
way.
that way.
of shifting the mood suddenly.
Yeah.
What was that story again about the blood fruits?
The what?
The blood fruits.
I'm not
That-
sure if I read
don't
that.
know.
Doesn't he have a story about the blood fruits, right? There was just this girl who was dying, I think, but then it turns out that she's dying because a plant is growing out of her body and it's growing blood fruits out of her blood, and apparently they taste so great that people actually want to suck more blood out of other people.
Oh no. I
Yeah.
don't think. Was
Okay.
it part of the Junji Ito collection anime?
Yeah, I saw it in the anime.
I should watch that.
I thought you
don't
didn't
think-
like horror.
Yeah, but like I need to explore more genres.
Okay.
That's true.
Like I guess even if you don't like horror, sometimes you can't help it because you're curious. Like what makes Junji Ito's work scary? Why is another scary? How does Japan depict their horror anime compared to Western horror or like even Filipino horror? We have a different concept of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, horror probably won't be my priority genre when it comes to consuming anime. But at the same time, I really can't ignore it because like Japanese horror anime, there's something about it that makes you want to
It
watch
stands
it.
out.
Yeah, it stands out compared to Western horror and yun yan, Filipino horror. So I don't know. Even though I don't like it, I'm curious. Who knows?
Maybe here and there. you
Yeah,
watch
maybe
a
here and
series.
there, once in a while, in a bright room, surrounded by people. No headset, just speakers. Yeah, that's the optimal conditions for watching horror movies.
Oh, there is one zombie anime that I like.
Mm.
Dead Man Wonder.
Oh, Dead Wonderland is about zombies.
No, it's not horror. It's just singing zombies.
Singing?
Oh wait, no, not that.
That's a different,
Oh,
that's a
what?
different zombie.
What was
Is
the
that
anime I was thinking about?
Zombieland Saga?
Yeah, Zombieland Saga.
Is
That
that
was
the
like
idol
Dead Man
group
Wonderland.
with
Yeah.
the zombies?
The zombie
I
idol.
don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, that was so far away from Dead Man Wonderland.
I
Dead Man
know.
Wonderland was very, very different.
I
Everyone
mean,
liked it.
Zombieland Saga really makes you think now. Usually talaga zombies are for the horror, for the gore. But like, I don't know, it's nice to see them subvert that zombie trope now. We're not just eating brains, killing people.
We're singing and dancing.
We're singing and dancing. We're
Yeah.
idols.
We're also zombies because of the industry we're in.
Oh,
Fair enough.
commentary.
Fair enough.
Social commentary. Oh, no.
So I guess, yeah. I guess the horror of Japanese anime isn't. If you guys hear screaming, Happy Halloween!
No one's dying.
No one's dying. We're just in UP. So I guess that's what's fun about Japanese horror anime. Like, it's not just the scary side. It can be dramatic, like another. It can be thought-provoking, like Junji Ito. Or it can be just innocent fun, like Zombieland Saga.
Which is, well, not technically horror, but yeah.
Not technically
has
horror,
horror
but
themes, I
it
guess.
has horror themes. But you know what I mean. So I guess yeah, horror isn't all that bad if you get into it. Like, it's not all like I mean, all genres are not one-dimensional with their stories. There are aspects of it that they really try to explore, and they mix it with other genres. So like, I don't know, guys. Give horror a chance. You know, maybe it's not because you're too scared, but you just haven't found that kind of horror
that you like. Yeah.
like. I'm away. It's fine. It's fine. Don't
It's
worry,
okay.
we were ending. So I guess that's it. Actually,
That's about it.
that's about it.
What's
So
so
sure.
about it?
Don't you want?
I mean, we covered all the topics you want to cover.
I thought you were gonna recommend some Halloween anime.
Or some other anime?
Oh shh! I forgot. I did not first. I only said shh. I did not complete it. Alright, I guess. Well, do you guys have any recommendations in particular?
I said I don't watch anime.
Yeah,
horror,
because since
so
you
I
don't
have
watch.
any.
Well, I really recommend Junjo Ito collection because, like, guys, the manga is very scary. I don't know. Personally, for me, I could stomach the anime more than I could the manga because, like, the manga is black and white, so it's even scarier.
Actually, there's no color.
Just the colors.
To add some.
How about you? Can you recommend?
Well, it's not exactly horror. It's more on the supernatural side. But then, if you've heard of Shinsei Kayori or from the new one,
Alright.
yeah, it's
The group chat was like talking about, guys, you gotta recommend Shinsei Kayori. I think it was Alex.
it kind of has a cult following, I think, because it's very underrated. Not many people know about it, and some people get turned off by the art style. But it's a really deep anime.
I should watch that. It's still on my list, actually.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? How about the apps? Do you guys want to recommend any particular horror?
You guys like horror?
No.
Now's the time to tell us.
I have one, Higurashi.
Oh,
Well,
Higurashi no
Yeah.
Koro ni?
Yeah, Higurashi no Na.
What's that about?
Is that where the school
I am
girls?
not very
Oh,
good
is it
with
the
this.
schoolgirls? Or was that Gakko Gorashi?
Oh, Higurashi is different. That's
Yeah, Gakugurashi.
Gakugurashi is
Yeah.
what is it called? Girls dominating boys in a prison school.
What?
Oh, that's
prison
about
school.
prison school. No, it's
Gakugurashi.
it's the zombie anime where this one girl has
I don't know my anime,
schizophrenia and like she thinks it's a regular high school life, but really they're in a zombie apocalypse.
Oh shoot.
Oh.
It's that one. And so thank you for recommendations. Okay.
Higurashi. Wait,
Ah.
what was it? Higurashi was about. There was a school there.
Yes,
too,
there's
right?
a school.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
school.
the one where the main characters keep on dying and there's a new story after the main character dies and it's like the first part didn't happen.
Yeah. The story keeps repeating,
Yeah,
but they keep finding new ways to die.
Yeah, but the character develops. So like what happened in the first part, now you know that character more about the first character. Now it's more centered around the next character, different person.
It's like V0 but horror.
Yeah,
And
but
with new
but do they
protagonists
remember?
every time.
no one remembers what
I don't
happened.
remember what happened.
Comparable to it is Umineko no Naku Koroni because they're practically by the same person.
Is it also horror?
It's
really.
not horror-ish, it's more like mystery na, but with supernatural themes as well.
So yeah, it's really hard to discern horror from supernatural from mystery. But like, I guess that's what.
Sometimes
it
they go
depends on
together.
what they want you to feel
Yeah.
from watching them.
How about Corpse Party? Isn't that
Oh, that
Yeah.
that's gore.
That's,
it's
that's
gore.
just-
I see you really like your visual novels.
Well, I guess that's about it. But like, before we end, we gotta plug something. So yeah. been talking about Halloween and about Japanese events. So, guys, if you like Halloween and you like fandoms, I'd like to invite you guys to Hero Eco Trick or Treat. It's a Boku no Hero cafe centered about. It's a Halloween
Team
theme.
cafe. Yeah.
Halloween themed butler cafe under the fandom of Boku no Hero Academia. So like if you guys have been following their page, their butlers are really great.
Yeah,
I'm not.
they look really
I
good.
almost spoiled something. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to
They
say
just-
But,
it.
but the butlers have been revealed. No?
No, the butlers have been rebuilt, but like since it's Halloween themed, there's gonna be Halloween costumes. Yeah, that's the only thing I can tell you. The
Are they gonna be
butlers.
the same costumes from the Halloween costumes in the manga?
I'm not really sure because well, even though I'm a volunteer there, they want
They
to
don't
make.
show you the costumes.
Yeah, they don't show me the costumes. They want to make it a surprise. So
Yeah.
you know, if you guys like Halloween themed, if you guys like horror, if you guys like Boku no Hero, if you guys like getting served in butler and maid cafes, consider going because it's on October 13. Venture Space PH Mandaluyong. Mandaluyong ba siya? I can't remember. Wait, Shaw is in Mandaluyong.
Yeah,
We
shout out
can
to
do it.
We can do it. So, before we end the podcast, as per usual, let's have an update on our goals.
I finally have an account in Casting Call Club, but I haven't auditioned for anything because I still need a good microphone.
The hunt for a microphone
Microphone,
continues.
that's not the microphone we have right now. Maybe you can borrow Max, actually.
Possibly.
And he found like lapel mics in Shopee for sale. So you can
Lapel?
consider that. You know, the one
Yeah,
you
right,
pay.
you just-
Yeah, but are those also good? I think they're pretty small, too small to have good processors in them.
I mean, well, it's good for recordings, personally, because we use it to record interviews in Mascom.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How about your goals, Ian? How's the Nihon?
I've just been continuing reading the books I bought actually. I'm finally gaining progress on the Buka book that I bought.
Time we need to achieve a higher lead level.
Yes, I do.
Time to watch anime without subtitles.
Oh, but I forgot. I could actually claim the test voucher already from Ling, from the Ling department.
Good
Yeah,
job.
they have the test voucher there already.
Good. Okay, you're close.
Maybe next week.
For
I think we're
me,
close.
How about you, Angelica? How has your thesis been going on?
my thesis is alright. The tone of voice doesn't say it. But like we're working on chapter 3 now, and so far, yeah, it's really just revisions, defending it to the death in front of our professors and classmates.
Also,
The
it's a
cycle
class
continues.
effort.
No, cause like we have mini defenses where we defend our chapters with our classmates. So our
Ah,
classmates
okay.
actually read our thesis and we comment against each other's.
Okay.
So like it's
That's actually a really good way to check on progress.
yeah.
Yeah.
And since since we share the same major and they have different research interests,
Mhm.
so that's a lot of different kinds of outputs and opinions. So you can consider a lot of perspectives.
Okay.
Shout out to my batch. So I guess that's it. Wow, our podcast is really short today. Maybe because we don't like horror in the first place.
We're so sorry, guys.
We're so sorry.
We know there's like people out there. If you could suggest some really good horror that we could watch the first few episodes and see if we like it.
In a bright room surrounded by people.
Just comment them
Comment down
below.
below, or if you want to share your own Halloween experiences, also comment them down below. So I guess that's it. Yeah, who wants to do the YouTube scheme?
I can't remember it, but
Hit that like button, smash that subscribe, comment down below, all that good things.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell for notifications.
I like
Guys,
how you
we're
did.
YouTubers.
Yeah, but I like that you did the longer version. It's just like, share, subscribe.
Depends.
Alright.
Depends. Alright, so that's it. Once again, thank you for listening to AME After Hours, UP AME's official podcast for anything and everything about anime, manga, and the community. Thank you for listening and see you guys next week. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Say goodbye.